for being vulnerable.
So
with
let's
like,
talk
it is
about
amazing.
another part of the book where it connects your stories. So you and
Yeah.
Nicole connect too. Let's talk about that.
Yeah. So we have the same sleep disorder. It's pretty rare.
Woo!
Yeah, just right out the gate. We have the same sleep disorder. It's called Idiopathic Hypersomnia.
Say that 3 times.
Right? Short is for short, it's called IH. But it's something that I know that I lived with for a long time without a diagnosis. And you talk about it in your book. You have a whole section dedicated to it. And I mean, like I was saying earlier, we connected through my mom. And one day, I was scrolling on Facebook and saw Nicole's name pop up in an IH support group, and I immediately texted her. I was like, "Hey, like, sorry, weird question, but do you have idiopathic hypersomnia?" And she was like, "Oh my god, yes." And so that really just kind of solidified our friendship for us, I think, because
I was like, oh, besties. We're besties now.
yeah, having somebody to connect with on that, because it's such a rare sleep disorder. It's often overlooked, misdiagnosed, and it's definitely not talked about enough. But it was just so bizarre to just run into somebody with the same one. Like that really, I don't feel like that happens very often. So I felt very lucky to be able to connect with you on that. But
And
I mean,
shout out to you too, Jordan, because she was one of my beta readers, which basically means she read a section of my book before it was published, and I had her specifically read, I think that one and mental health, right? I know I for
Mhm.
sure had you do, yeah. So she read my mental health and sleep disorder sections, and I asked her for feedback, and she helped me, and she was wonderful. So thank you for that.
Such an honor it was. But no, I was just so excited that somebody was finally speaking up for us. I was so excited to read that section for you and help you with it just because again, like it's so important to educate people about this. And I mean, you put so much research into this book as well. That's something that if you guys pick up a copy, you'll notice you it's a very well researched book. God, you just talk about so many different things. I was trying to find specific examples, but the whole section really just gets me so excited. Um, but yeah, so when were you diagnosed again, if you're willing to share?
I should know.
It's like
I've
2020,
just been tired my whole life. Probably around there. Yeah.
2021, something like that.
2020 was spring of 2020 was when I got diagnosed.
It was toward the end of college, I remember, because I was
Mhm.
still in college, and it was when I was driving back to see my parents one time that I fell asleep, and that's when I actually fell asleep behind the wheel, and that's when they officially were like, "Okay, something is seriously wrong," because they always knew something was
Mhm.
up, but we thought it was just we were always
Yeah, because
excusing it.
apparently people with IH can sleep like the dead.
Yeah, so
Yes.
well, let's talk about that. What is IH? I was jumping the gun a little bit. So, idiopathic hypersomnia is a sleep disorder, and essentially, it's like the part of our brain that controls our sleep is like turned on all the time or something like that. That's the very untechnical way of explaining it, but we're just
Yeah.
constantly tired
And
and
idiopathic means they don't know what causes it.
correct,
Correct.
yeah. Um,
I describe it to
and
people as it's like if you had your phone plugged in for 8 hours, it would never reach it no matter how long it's plugged in, it'll never hit 100%. It's always at 50% or less, and that's how we
Mhm.
function every day because no amount of sleep
exactly.
will actually refill us. So we are never at
Mhm.
100% and we never can be.
Right.
Yeah. And that was I mean, that was really hard growing up without a diagnosis. I remember in high school falling asleep in class all the time, and I was always so embarrassed and so afraid that my teachers were gonna think that I was being disrespectful or that I was, just being a lazy student or something. Because I really prided myself on being, uh, an A student and the best that I could be, and I was an academic. But I really struggled with that, and I've also had an experience of nodding off behind the wheel, and it's very, very scary. And I don't remember what I can't pinpoint any exact moment that led me to seeking a diagnosis, but I'm so glad that I did because, um, when you're diagnosed with IH, you undergo these sleep studies, and they'll have you come in, the evening prior, and they'll monitor you while you sleep the whole night. And then the next day, if it's necessary, they'll keep you for the whole day and have you take naps every couple of hours and monitor your sleep during the day. And I remember I slept through the night. They kept me for the next day. And I think like the second nap of the morning, which was like at 10 a.m., I fell asleep in 30 seconds.
Wow.
I like head on the pillow out. I was, and I felt like I wasn't even sleeping at all. I thought I had stayed awake the entire day. And they were like, no, dude, you fell asleep like for all 5 naps. So that was
And
my,
you're all hooked up to, you're in
Yeah.
a foreign
yeah.
environment, so it's
Well,
not just like a
and I remember many a times, especially like in the car or whatever, we're driving somewhere and I'm talking to Jordan. One second she's awake, and the next I look over and her neck is like gooseneck, like hanging straight down. Like she couldn't even like she didn't like lay down and go to sleep. You know what I mean? She just like passed out like that.
Mhm.
And as her mom, I'm like, oh, pick her head up. That's not good.
Right.
yeah. That neck pain though. Oof. No, yeah,
But
it's
I
yeah.
thought maybe narcolepsy, honest to God. I mean, because I was like, something is way off here. And it was very disconcerting. But even more so as an outsider here, I'm looking at two beautiful, strong, intelligent young women with a whole life ahead of them, living in this very competitive, ambitious, driven world, and watching you struggle because oh, I'm not enough. I can't keep up with everybody. I'm tired. Like watching Jordan go through that, just even in college,
Mhm.
was very hard on the outside. So tell us what it's like from your perspective to have a sleep disorder, and then people who are like, go, 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 be this, be that, do all these things. Like, how do you do it?
I do my best is
Me
what I would
too.
say. I've gotten a
Mhm.
lot, and I think especially having Jordan in my life and writing this book, it feels more real to like know someone personally that, and you're also close with that person.
Mm.
Publishing it in a book, it feels more real. I've become a lot more. I mean, there's some days. I mean, it sucks. I just want to literally sleep the whole day, and I really have no motivation. But I can't control it, so I just try to stay as positive as I can, and I'm just like, "This is my life." So I do have to adjust things. I tell people I'm not and I cannot be a morning person, but I can if they can work with me, I can work around them. And I tell people, like, when I say I'm tired and I have to let go, I mean it, and I
Mhm.
Mhm.
really can't. So I've just become a lot more I try to stay realistic and very forgiving with myself, and then I do seek community and people like Jordan and times that I'm struggling or I have questions, and we go back and forth and talk about this kind of stuff all the time. So I think having a community of people who get it, and then just being a lot more forgiving with myself
So one
and
of my favorite things about your friendship is when I hear the support my daughter even gets. She'll say, "Oh, I was like, aren't you going to hang out with Nicole tonight?" And she'll say, "Oh, she texted me and she said she's really tired and she can't." And I'm like, "Oh, what a great friendship that like there's no guilt there. You can just be honest and say I can't function right now." And you're like, "Yeah, I
Mhm.
got you. Let's reschedule for a different day." As to where in other friendships, people are not quite as understanding that you have to take care of you first. I mean, gosh, it's not just being tired,
yeah.
guys. Like,
Yeah.
understand that when my child goes to sleep, it was for like 3 days at a time, like, literally just
Mhm.
begging her to wake up to just maybe eat a little bit, maybe take her meds, like, if I could just get her up that long. And so I worry about, like, how do you live on your own when you have a sleep disorder? How do you function when you're just exhausted all the time?
You do
Yeah,
your
I
best.
you do your best. Yeah, I have a lot of alarms set in the morning, and
Mhm.
I think a lot of people, my neighbors, hate me for that because I mean, there's sometimes it will go off for maybe an hour. Trying to get into a good sleep schedule. Sometimes if I know I have something very important that I have to wake up for that I cannot be late to, I will ask like my mom or someone else, like, "Can you call me and make sure I'm up?" And like she will.
That does
Well
not work. Jordan does not answer her phone.
My
well
mom, there was one time I had to catch a flight, and it was she FaceTimed me multiple times, and then I picked up, and she's like, "Are you up?" And I was like, "Mhm." She's
Mhm.
like get out of bed and turn on the light and take your phone and show me you were out of bed, because she knew
Yeah.
if I didn't physically get out of bed, I wouldn't. So I've used other people as resources,
Mhm.
setting alarms, and it just, you have to have as much discipline as you
I think it
can,
would
for sure.
almost behoove you to have people with this disability, if you call it that, a service animal that would be trained to like wake you up, like if your arm,
My
and
cat.
like
So
thankfully having a dog can help with that, Jordan.
my dog Sam, love him to death. He is my service animal, and I was hoping for that initially, that he was gonna get me up in the morning, and most of the time he does. Um,
She broke
but
her dog.
it
She broke
he's
her dog.
kind of failed at it because he learned to sleep in with
He
me
sleeps
is
till
the
like
problem.
noon.
And he doesn't bat an eye. He's just like, "All right, we're sleeping in today," and he will gladly do it. So he's very emotionally supportive, but not not so much a great service animal.
My cat
Um,
is the same way.
Oh, it
they
is
learn.
sad. Mhm.
But I had a question for you, Nicole. I know we've talked about this a little bit, but uh, mom, you bringing up how I ignore your phone calls and things like that. Do you, Nicole, ever deal with something called sleep drunkenness with
Yes.
this disorder? Yeah.
Yeah, don't
So
talk to me right when I wake up.
sleep drunkenness, for people who don't know, it kind of sounds exactly like it is. It's you just when you wake up, you are so groggy and you're so out of it that in my case, I do things that I have no memory of doing. I will have whole conversations with people that I can't remember because my brain has not yet woken up. Uh, or I will turn off all of my alarms. And I mean, there have been times where I've rearranged all the apps on my home screen and I unlock it and I'm like, what happened? Like, and so it's a very, this disorder really interrupts a lot of different aspects of your life. And Nicole, what you were saying is you do your best. Like, that's really all you can do. Um, and having your support has been so important to my healing journey as well. Just having, I mean, all of my friends have been so understanding about this disorder and have opened their doors if I need to come over just for a quick nap in between errands or something. So
But there's
having that support system
validation
is so important.
and having somebody who truly understands. Like, I'll never understand. I don't have your sleep disorder. I can say, "Oh, I'm tired. Oh, I mean, I get fatigue. I have my own issues with that, but even still, it's not IH." And so to have a friendship with somebody who can truly say, I get you. I think it's so important. Like, I think that was a huge boost for you, Jordan, for your mental health to just finally have somebody validate how exhausted you really are and to say, you know what,
Mhm.
I see you, I recognize this in you, and I will still be here for you. I will still be your friend. I will still show up. I will still, like, that's huge. And I'm so glad you guys found each other.
Me too.
Absolutely.
I really
It
am.
makes it makes me emotional to think about, so honestly, because I remember, like, the first time, I forget which one of us texted, but it was just like, "I'm too tired to hang out, can we reschedule?" And the
I
relief
was
that came
I
with
was
that,
so happy. I was
I
so
was like,
tired
"Thank
too.
God, I'm exhausted,
Like,
let's
you're both
cancel."
like, I feel that in my core.
Yeah, like, it was such an immense amount of relief because there is, that need to appease people and be like, "I'm so sorry, I know I don't have control over this," but it's really I don't have control over this. If I'm tired,
Mhm.
we're not hanging out.
Yeah.
That's just, you know? So to have
Mhm.
Yeah.
somebody so willingly be like, "Oh my god, yeah, let's cancel." It's just
Mhm.
And the
it's
other thing I've
amazing.
seen is trying to function in the norm world when you're not a norm person. And I've literally, I hope you don't mind me sharing this. I'm gonna share it anyways, Jordan. Seeing my daughter drive herself beyond her limits because she's trying to work a
Mhm.
full-time job. She's trying to work normal hours. She's trying to function like everybody else. She doesn't want to share with employers that she has these things going on in her life. And then just watching her completely collapse because she's so exhausted. And one of the things I used to always say to her is, Jordan, learn to listen to your body or your body's just going to take over. Like, if your body is tired, you have to listen to that. And you've done much better over the years. And I know a lot of that is just attributed to the fact that you have a friend living a similar life. And we see that it doesn't stop you. I mean, how incredible is this? You're a model, you're an author, you're all over town, you're networking, you're doing all of this badass stuff, you're in the capital. So what an inspiration to have each other to say, yeah, we got this, but damn, it's not going to
Mhm.
stop us. We're still
Mhm.
gonna, we still
Yeah.
got lives to live. We're still in our 20s. Jordan's like, I'm
That's
going out with Nicole. I'm like, oh, we're gonna go have
we're
fun.
gonna go take a nap. Like
No, no. When you guys are like, we're going out to an event. Oh, didn't she take you to some like cool club? All right, so Nicole, you know all
all
the ins and
kinds.
outs of all the cool places over town. That I would never
Yeah.
go to because I hate dressing up. But I love when you guys dress up and you go out, and then Jordan's telling me all these cool places like you guys have gone to go hang
All
out
the
in. And
speakeasies and things. Yeah. You just know the ins and outs. You're so cool, Nicole.
you're
I don't
way
say
You're
that
cool
so
lightly.
cool.
For our listeners, you're the like one of the coolest people I know. Like you are
for sure.
iconic, honestly. I look up to you in every way.
I
So
want to be
like,
Um,
you
and
when I grow
talking
up.
about that, you did a model. You're modeling. You did like a runway, like the confidence it takes to do runway stuff. Oh my god! But you were
well,
fire. Holy cow!
not not only did she do runway stuff, the artist that she has been modeling for